We all know Spider-Man's origin story by this point, but never has it been told this way. And dare we say it, this is probably the best retelling of Peter Parker's journey to becoming the iconic wall crawler. Brought to us fans by the masterful creative team of Paul Jenkins and the Paulo Rivera, Marvel's Mythos, Spider-Man #1 is fresh to say the least. It all starts as you would expect with Spidey's origin tale. He's just a regular high schooler who's down on his luck. The story so far? You know the story so far. Boy meets girl, girl ignores boy, boy meets another girl, she ignores boy too, everyone ignores boy. But what makes this particular version of the web-slinger's beginnings is how it's self-aware. It takes into account the decades of history that preceded it and doesn't insult us fans by doing a retread. As Pete has just said, we all know the story so far, but we've never seen it told this smoothly. The main reason for that is because we're not subjected to Stan Lee's verbose scripting in this particular comic, which makes its presentation more palatable for modern audiences. We mean, yes, the original version of Spidey's origin is a classic, but let's not kid ourselves, its writing was a product of its time. And as for Paulo Rivera's art, come on guys, this is pure Americana. Simply put, the way Paulo Rivera approached this issue, not to mention all the other titles within the Mythos line, which we highly recommend by the way, is by combining mainstream superhero comic book art sensibilities crossed with the kind of grace you'd see in an N.C. Wyeth painting. In this case, though, you're just going to love how Mr. Rivera pays homage to Steve Ditko's iconic art from Amazing Fantasy number 15, all the while infusing it with his own truly inspired brushwork. But back to our story. Peter Parker still hasn't gotten his superpowers at this point. In fact, it touches on the true comic book roots of the character. Unlike, say, the Tobey Maguire version who was more of an optimistic nerd, his version of Pete has got more heft to it. He knows he's a nerd and he doesn't like it one bit. Look, I know we don't have a lot of extra money, but if it's something you need, you can tell me anything. Is it a girl? Do you want new sneakers? It's just school, Uncle Ben. Life kinda stinks for me right now. As you'd expect by now, Uncle Ben serves as Peter's role model here, much like the hundreds of times we've seen before, as Pete tells him about the school bully, Flash Thompson. But man, oh man, when Unc hits that classic Spidey line about responsibility, combined with Paulo Rivera's magnificent acrylic work, it just hits differently this time around. The people with the brains have all the real power in this world, Peter. Now, one of these days, you're going to have to work out what you want to do with it. Maybe I could invent an idiot nullifier for Flash. Power doesn't work that way. If you have power, then you have responsibility. Then came the fateful day when Pete finally got his powers. It happens during a field trip to an Oscorp and Daily Bugle hosted Science Expo. And no offense to the late, great Steve Ditko and his scripter Stan Lee, but this has got to be the most polished sequence of how Pete got his powers. Ow! What is it? I don't know, something bit me. I think it was a spider. Now guys, the original origin story of Spidey from Amazing Fantasy number 15 showed Pete getting bitten by that spider, and then just abruptly accepting the fact that he's now basically a wall-crawling god among men. But Paul Jenkins and Paulo Rivera did us one better here. There's a gradual transition, and it is one of the most beautiful sequences in superhero comics you'll see. Peter Parker. Head feels strange. I need some air. Why is it glowing? Much like the original, Pete nearly gets run over by a car, but his newfound spider senses kick in and he jumps onto a wall, and good lord, just look at that spread. This is one of the reasons why Paulo Rivera is one of the most well-regarded comic book artists out there. And we're even going to say it right here, he's better than Alex Ross. You might not agree, but it is what it is. Anyway, Peter doesn't just go, oh well, I'm a superhero now after this. He feels the change gradually, and we even get to see a wonderful montage of how he does it. Oldest story in the book. Boy gets excited. Boy strikes out. Boy can now see perfectly. Boy builds web spinners and learns to climb walls. Boy does what any self-respecting American would do in this situation. He figures out how to use his newfound abilities to make money. Unlike the original, Peter doesn't enter the pro wrestling circuit here. Instead, he becomes a TV personality. And in a stroke of genius, Jenkins and Rivera even had the one and only Conan O'Brien make a cameo appearance in this comic. Just wow. And the way the artist captures Conan's likeness, let's just say it'll make you want to shout, "I heard there was a talk of gerbils." Hey, if you know, you know. Eventually, Pete will come across a thug being chased by a cop and just let the guy run past him. "Thanks, man. I owe you one." "Whatever." "What the hell is wrong with you? You could have stopped him at least, slowed him down." "And yet, I didn't imagine that. I never saw you or anyone else at my door when I needed you these last few years, so don't blame me for returning the favor." It might come as a surprise to you guys who've only seen the more recent interpretations of the wall crawler, but the OG Spider-Man was a dick before he became Marvel's greatest superhero. Pete would spend his time doing these odd jobs and basically just enjoying his new powers, swinging across the city and all, you know, being a teenager. That is, until that fateful night when the same thug he let get past him earlier ended up killing Uncle Ben after he tried robbing their house. It's your Uncle Ben. There's been an incident. There was a lot of cash lying around and someone broke in. Our uncle tried to stop the guy and he got shot. Is he okay? There's no easy way to say this, son. I'm afraid your uncle didn't make it. This event, of course, is something we're all too familiar with. Pete goes on a rampage and nearly kills the thug when he finds him. "You piece of garbage! I should have killed you in the parking lot when I had the chance! You killed a good man tonight. What do you think I should do? I didn't mean to. I ought to kill you right now. But I have a responsibility, even to you." Peter ends up sparing the guy and leaving the dirtbag for the cops. And as for the rest, well, we'll leave it to Mr. Parker. And that's the way it goes. Boy slips up, somebody dies. Boy wonders if he'll ever find his feet again. You know the rest of the story. And there you have it, guys, the best version of Spider-Man's origin story. What about you? What's your favorite version of this classic tale? Share it with us in the comments, and for more amazing pop culture videos, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell. We'll catch you soon, only here at KRTV Marvel.